We're back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm gonna do I want to do a little after show with Mr. Fantastic stream. Shout out to Mr. Fantastic. He did a killer ass, kick ass stream. Apparently Anton got on there too. I'm thinking about doing a play by play on that. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Because I'm gonna tell you something, I do got respect for him coming up there and addressing what he has to say. I'm gonna let some of y'all come in here a little bit before I jump in it. So once you come in here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and make your presence felt. Because I definitely want to get this shit off. Yeah, I'm gonna do a panel too. Get that stuff going early. We definitely not doing no 5-hour stream. All right, so I want to jump out here. First of all, I want to say this. No names in the chat. When I say no names, let's stop. I'm not here to call people names. Don't do it in the chat. If y'all want to make a point as to what y'all don't like somebody said, I mean, obviously you all are welcome to do that. Shout out to Alonzo. I definitely want to. I would like to hear what he's got to say. Because Alonzo definitely is an upper class individual as to how he carries himself. On a higher level. No, for real. Like, I'm serious, because the problem is I want to really have the conversation. And I hope Obsidian gets better. Shout out to Obsidian. This is the same stuff I told Obsidian. When Obsidian wanted to have a conversation, same general stuff. So if y'all haven't seen Mr. Fantastic stream, check it out. It was an epic 4-hour stream. Anti got on there. Jessica was in rare form, where really seeing how she deals with when she stress tests. Danielle was in there. No, absolutely, Alonzo, absolutely, because the thing about it is, one of the things I love about this space is we have a variety of black folk men in it. Black men from different generations, black men from different backgrounds, black men from different regions, black men for health. A lot of y'all, some of y'all ain't even from the United States. ADOS, non-ADOS, Caribbean, blah, 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 a lot of mixtures, black people from different class levels. So what happens is we get lumped, like everybody ain't, and even different degrees of red pill. And, the red pill label, a lot of times, a lot of dudes want to argue against the label. Fuck the label. There's nothing that black men say in this space that is not grounded in common sense, that is not grounded in want to have a high quality of life as they define it, and is not grounded in wanting to be aware of your situation so you can basically chart your own course as a man or as an individual. Life, liberty, and the pursuit. Fuck the red pill label. Because a lot of times people want to argue against labels, and I'm not even going to lie, on the back end, people want to defend labels. People fall into this with SYSBM. People fall in with this with the black conservative shit. People fall into this in a lot of different categories, and it creates arguments where they shouldn't need to be there. So let me chart this out. So one of the things that was interesting is that Courtney was in the chat, at least before Anton got on there. And then I left, and then Anton came up there maybe like an hour later or something. I was doing something. And then Jessica X, and then before he got on there, Jessica X was like there, and then Danielle was there. Okay. And a lot of it, like when Jessica X and Daniel was there, it wasn't really an opportunity to really have an, in my opinion, an honest, good faith conversation. It's way too much. It's too much campaigning involved. So before I get my other stuff, I also want to say this too. One of the things that annoys me about how Anton and them went about throwing the shots and doing whatever they did, because they never directly said anybody individual, but whatever. It's that if y'all don't remember, because like I told you, I'm going to speak to what somebody says, and I'm going to stand on that shit, and y'all know that's how I get down, and I've had people that not like me at various times for that. Y'all know that's true for Angry Man, that's true for Obsidian. Y'all know I go way back as far as BGS's shit. I'm going to stick to what the points are. It is what it is. It's not personal. Here's what annoys me the most about what Anton not recently did, but what he did. If you all remember, when I was talking about I was going back and forth with Obsidian on Bernard's panels. What have I always said? I said that there should be a purple pill space that is created, probably that we need to control. No, I wouldn't agree that he was tap dancing. I wouldn't agree that Anton was tap dancing. I think Anton actually pushed the issue a lot more than a lot of people would think. So I think there's enough there. And so I'll give him credit for that. But I told Obsidian that if everybody want to have, because all this was in context to Kevin Samuels. A lot of people talk about Kevin Samuels trying to bring people back on the marriage plantation, all that other shit. I said that Kevin Samuels is not convincing black men to get married. They already want to get married. And his platform is an outlet for them to go through that. And the black manosphere, or any black man, is going to have to accept that, right? And that energy, that negative energy and friction should not even be there, because they have a right to do what the fuck they want to do. They have that right. And so so there's a difference between being disingenuous and then a difference between dudes are just convinced that's what they want to do. I'm not even going to say they got to learn the hard way or anything like that. That's on them. And I hope it works out. But that's not going to stop me from saying what the fuck I'm going to say. And this is why I tell people, if you're married or you're looking to get married, I don't know what the fuck you want from me. I don't know what the fuck you want from Ramil. I don't know what the fuck you want from us. It's not our job to advocate for that. And I'm going to get back to that in a second. I'm going to come back to that point. But I said one of the things when I first started looking at Anton and I first started talking about him, right? And this was positive. This is way before this last shit. The initial things I said, because I saw that they show, and then I saw he had a channel, and then I said, oh, he's showing this, he's showing that, he's walking through Vegas doing this, and he was talking about marriage. And I said, you know what? This is an example of a guy talking about what you need to pay attention to for marriage, but in the context of somebody that actually wants to get married. So he keeps on coming back. I got a point here. He keeps on wanting to say, well, I didn't see. He's mad at us because a lot of individuals that are single men are not promoting marriage. Well, you're a business guy. You saw an opportunity. You saw a niche that apparently you have a lot of credibility to fill. And so you're filling it. But don't sit there and then say that we're hurting people because we're not advocating for that. You feel the niche. And so, but and here's the thing. I also said, you know what? Here's a guy that's talking about marriage, talking about what you need to pay attention to, talking about the positives. Because remember, that's what I was telling Gabe on either Bernard shit or Ramil shit. I was saying, why don't y'all create a purple pill space? Why don't y'all create a space where y'all can talk about marriage? Gabe's answer was, I got too much shit to do. Well, look, boy, Anton got more money than Gabe, and Anton got enough money to talk about why people should get married. So that I got too much shit to do, that may be true for him, but everybody tends to say that shit. You know, yeah. And I stated that Anton is doing that. Y'all need to, that's the first time I promoted his channel. Y'all need to check it out. If you all want to look to get married and you all want to look at the other side of it, go over there. And that's important because we get accused of we are invested in people not getting married. We get accused of we're hurting marriage. That's what's implied. Or we're not telling people the whole truth. And then it gets talked about the narratives as to why we do that. The reality of the situation is that would be a lot more true if we would have went out of our way to attack Anton because he's talking positively about marriage. That's what a lot of the white MGTOWs do. But the white boys do. We don't do that. We don't sit there and look for people to talk positively about marriage. But they're not talking about us, but they talk positively about marriage and we hunt them down and we try to make response videos to them. We don't do that. In fact, a lot of guys, because we know it's a lot more guys in this space that are open to marriage or long-term. And that's another thing too, way before that bullshit. What did Angry Man say as far as the Angry Man standard? He was talking about long-term relationships. Talk about how much he talked about it, how much he promoted it. Right? So black men are not against long-term relationships. We're essentially arguing about a piece of paper and the fucking legal, the legality shit that comes along with that. That's really the issue. And what women try to do is they try to conflate that shit. Don Cheadle just married his wife, girlfriend for 26 years. Do you really believe there would have been so much more shit that she would have got being married and being with his ass? And because people can't beat those arguments, for the most part, it looks like Anton's trying to come with some other shit. But because people at this point, they want to, it's like they try to say, well, we just hate it. No, we don't. The truth, but the truth is, a lot of dudes, and I was one of the main ones, was actually telling y'all to go listen to him. I'm not even talking about his show. The show, I'm talking about his channel. This guy is talking about this content you want, and he likes Kevin Samuels. And he's breaking it down a little bit more to the nuts and bolts. If you want to get married, look, you know what I think about the shit. If you want to get married, go. Because truth be told, I've always been the laws need to change. I'm not technically anti-marriage. I'm pro-marriage reform. And a lot of folks want to act like, well, there's no problem with the laws. That's really why I don't want to have this, okay, we're just going to have back and forth bullshit. Do the laws need to be fixed? Because ain't nobody politically talking about that. So I assume that everybody thinks the laws are fine. But my point is, initially, I was pushing people to him like I do with a lot of people on my channel. Just like when Glenn and Cameron, Erica, anybody, when they have something that I'm not going to speak to, or I think they can speak better towards, I'm not going to be going nuance into marriage. I'm married. I pushed them to him. And a lot of people were listening to his show from Kevin, who is from our space, and a lot of people were giving them a little. I ain't saying they got their subscribers from us. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is people say, oh, this is a cool show, blah, blah, blah. Because I know JR just got done saying, oh, we're not Black Manosphere and we're not Red Pill. Newsflash, you all are niggas. It doesn't matter what you say. As long as you're black men, you're going to be categorized. The black manosphere is not a club. The black manosphere is usually YouTubers, is black men that are talking about content. Just because you say you're not, just like Jason Black tries to say, well, red pill and all this, doesn't matter. Because you notice that Jason Black says the same shit. Jason Black says very similar shit to what we say. At the end of the day, he basically his shit, and he ain't got no completely diametrically opposed solution that's different. So I mean, at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. But it's kind of like saying, well, I'm not Baptist, I'm Southern Baptist. Okay. Just like how Myron Jada Black ain't in a black manosphere. But Jada Black is Jada Black. Same thing with Myron and Fresh and Fit. Same, like, it doesn't matter. So that shit's dumb. But whatever. But my point is, what annoys me is he could have came back. Like, the reality is, all he had to do, because the main argument he made, like, yesterday and today, was that black men in this space are doing young black men a disservice by not talking about the positives of marriage. Okay, first of all, the entire mainstream tells men they should get married. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I personally promote blackandmarriedwithkids.com, which nobody other than me seems to talk about. Number three, number three. Oh, let me read these super chats real quick. That shit's fucking me up. Anton was talking about these red pill guys don't talk about the benefits of marriage. Why should they, when we all know cons outweigh the pros just off a divorce percentage alone? Yeah, and Jessica X said that it's better to never be married than to be married and divorced. Even though she's on the pro marriage side, which of course she's gonna be. Why do finance guys get into marriages or relationship talk? They always cook by the manosphere, especially Moise Watkins. Okay, so here's the thing. Well, Moise Watkins by Jap, staying in lane. Okay, well, the thing about it is that's a little bit different, because you're talking about a guy that just got married in Moise Watkins and then got married. Because remember, you know what the irony is? The irony is Anton was cooking Moise Watkins too about that. So it's a little bit different. But all he had to do, that's what number three. All he had to do was talk to, he knows O'Shea. He's cool with O'Shea. Kevin's cool with O'Shea. All he had to do was do a Hall of Game. 30 minutes, 45 with O'Shea. O'Shea cams up for the Hall of Games, you know. And hell, if he wants to, he can get somebody to write for the fucking Negro Manosphere, probably. The benefits of marriage. That's all he has to do. You want to talk to somebody, Obsidian is, even though he's a bachelor, Obsidian is not anti-marriage at all. There are pathways to have the conversation in a leveraged way, not needing to talk to people, the little people, but in a leveraged way that you could get that out. And the argument, the way he kind of came at it, was like, we just be fucking attacking his ass, and then he just finally just let it out. That's not what happened. What happened is folks will really feel, looking at your content and looking at your own personal channel, and some folks like me were actually directing people, this is, y'all want to talk about marriage, stop asking me about marriage, stop fucking get mad at me for what I say about marriage, and actually go find another store. Here's a store that actually talks about what the fuck you want to talk about. That's it. That's who we are. And we got plenty of folks that we let come into the space and have a conversation. If he wanted to have a debate, he could have had a debate. Like I said, he could have been on O'Shea, Obsidian. He could have had that conversation with anybody in a way that's control, and it been good. But what happened was, we got to play this I'm better than you niggas bullshit. And we just got done. Jason Black, Tommy Soto. It's always the next nigga that want to act like they better than somebody. And like Grown Man Business said, who is married, who's been married for longer than Anton, who has, I think he has a son, but he's got daughters, all of that, you know? That's why I told Jessica, I said, look, we can produce dudes that either have been married, or are married. We can produce these people. They got channels. Kevin from Habitual Line Steppers, Sheed, Bernard, Fantastic, and Grown Man Business. See, this idea that this space, and Grown Man Business has its critiques of the red pill as well. We all do. But this idea that the thing that really annoys me is this thing about we want to talk about the red pill and not get specific. And it's like, we know y'all low-key talking about us. I don't know why people trying to pretend like motherfuckers ain't talking about us. We know you're not talking about the white boys because you ain't got that kind of audience. We know what time it is. So I don't even know why you're bullshit. You got Dennis Sperling. You got plenty of folks where you can have this conversation in a very open-ended way that's not going to be antagonistic. You don't got to talk to Ramil, even though Ramil got a lot of pull. You know? But no, we can't do shit that way. We gotta start the bullshit. We gotta start throwing the shots. The shots came at us first. Same shit. And remember what I said. I said Anton was like a Boyce Watkins variant, because even when you talk about Boyce, I was like, you got a lot of similarities to him. Same thing Boyce do. Throw these little ad hominems and these little shots. Kevin's getting it at a much bigger level. Creflo fucking Dollar. Throwing ad hominems and shots. You know? Jason, ad hominems and shots. People are always throwing these little ad hominems and fucking shots. Most black men, they're always doing that. And it's like, you could have went about this a completely different way. You really could have. There's dudes in the space. There's an audience to be had that's open to it. That's open to what people want to call a balanced conversation. And this thing about criticizing us because we're going to have our stances, and that's another point. We have our stances for a reason. The reason we have our stances is because nobody's fucking telling black men the bad shit about marriage. Black men ain't hearing this shit offline. Most black men, and see, this is another thing Anton said, which I agree with. Anton said, I look at marriage as a business first. Most black men don't get married for business reasons. That's not the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth thing as to why they get married. They love the chick or they got the chick pregnant. And even then, why do you need to marry her? Half the time, they don't want to get married. And so when you looked at the video I did initially, with all this shit about what red pill is, and he said he agrees with a lot of it. He didn't say what part he agrees with, though. You got to read between those lines. But my thing, if you've listened to him enough, but my thing is, all this bullshit under red pill, Pookies and Ray Rays are typically not red pill. And Pookies and Ray Rays are defined as non-productive black men. It's not enough accuracy. It's not enough accuracy. It's just not. It's not enough accuracy. And we're not even getting to BGS's theory of the village wife and all this other bullshit. What's up, Sexy Red? What's up, Gold Professor? But and another thing, too, is this idea that I already know people don't know what the fuck they talking about when it's talking to us, when they talk about we all have this hive mind. You got dudes that are married, not married, dudes that criticize the space from a variety of different ways. We got dudes in the space like Ike. We got dudes in the space like Dr. Dunbar. We got PhDs in this bitch, both men and women. We got military people, blue collar people, cops, lawyers. The lead attorney's a fucking family attorney. He literally deals with divorce. I would love that. I would love that debate. And he cams up. I would love that debate. The lead attorney versus Anton, that would be a good one. So when people sit there and say we have this hive mind mentality, even Jessica X said, "Oh, like if you type in never get married, what comes up? Fucking Kevin comes up too." So it's a lot of this conversation's important. And I don't want to play the petty bullshit. So, and sometimes people like to throw in the little petty shots. I'm talking about like on real shit, fantastic shit. And I think that's important. A lot of the loud mouth, we're going to just push our way through it. No, we need to have a conversation. Let's have it. Shout out to AM1. AM1 ain't cool with me. Yeah, see? I didn't even see AM1. I can only imagine if AM1. Man, you put Ramil on that motherfucker. Ramil, Carl the Tactician, AM1, Spiritual Logic, and Solo TV84. Nigga, that's the nigga, please. That shit don't even get started. Because AM1's gonna cover the economic shit at an older age. Shout out to AM1 birthday just passed. Hell, you put Obsidian on that shit. Boy, don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, I'm gonna drop the link real quick. Make sure y'all hit the Cash App. As well, I'm gonna drop the link real quick, get an interaction with y'all, because I ain't trying to have this go on forever. I just wanted to give my after thoughts on it. He said, I feel like shit is reaching a crescendo in the sphere. Something gonna give, because right now we're bumping heads with black women and black women not being introspective. I mean, the reality of the situation is you got a lot of folks. Like I said, Danielle came up there. A lot of them were caping. They want to talk about the damn They want to talk about the damn, like, all these benefits. Like, I think for intellectual exercise, I'm going to gather all the supposed benefits. Yeah, what's up, Ian?
Peace. Let me
What's up, man? Look like I'm in the dentist, man. Seeing that light, young.
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so what's up? What's on your mind?
So tell me, what do you think about hold on, let me see let me get his name exactly right. Because I need to.
Yeah, we're not calling names.
Let me no. I gotta ask my question. Can I ask my question?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right. What do you think about Spencer Holman as the new Manosphere manager, or he has the rights to the Manosphere, Black Manosphere?
Well, I mean, that's not really what the topic is, but I'll answer your question. That's all he has, and he doesn't have the rights. I think he's trying to get them. He's in commission to get them. But that doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not copyright. It's just he has the right to sell products and services under the label the Black Manosphere. Now, I will say the thing that he's in a zone for. I told y'all we not gonna do names. I'm gonna give y'all, that's kind of the last warning.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Yeah. What's up? I got you. Let me be direct with this question. The thing that bothers me the most about that is him trying to control words.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing. And I tell you, if he has anything, because I got some unique stuff that I say that's unique to me, I'm gonna have a problem with that. But I haven't seen that, and that's not something I'm actively looking for. But that's the only thing that I would jump on. But other than that, it doesn't matter. Nothing really changes. Nothing, because we all have our own independent. Our channels are our own brand anyway. So I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, if he creates a mag, just like O'Shea, because I think there is room for more websites. If he creates a magazine and saying some good stuff, it's cool. But the thing that I worry about is urban intellectuals, very smart brothers. If you build up an email list of, let's say you build up an email list of 100,000 people or 50,000, you do realize if you can show like engagement and all that, like in the list, and you did this amount of revenue, all that stuff could be sold. And people say that's not their intentions. Intentions change. So I think of that. But other than that, at the end of the day, that's not going to change nothing. So I'm not worried. Other than the words.
I mean, is that going to have because no, I asked that because I did tie it into what you were saying, because I'm concerned about the level of content. Again, surrounding him being able to control the words and directing people as to his interpretation of meanings and so on and so forth.
All that means is he can sell stuff. Like the only thing that the words of control is you can't sell T-shirts and stuff like that. Other than that, it doesn't matter. It's about social media power and influence. You don't need to buy the trademark for that. That's really you really don't. You know, it's kind of like let's say somebody had like a let's say somebody had and people do this. Let's say they have a Captain America, you know, fan page, like or the trademarks. It just means you can't sell stuff on that. But I'm not worried about that because it's being blown up more than what it is. But yeah,
Okay.
All right. Hey
uh,
yo, I want to talk about some shit we was talking about on the Ramil show earlier, and I had asked the dude a question, but he ain't really flesh it out. And the question is, there's gonna be a course. He was saying that there's gonna be a course correction with the marriage thing, and my whole thing is, even if we do have a course correction, right, and the younger generation starts to marry again, what about the generation right now? It,
the
you
younger
understand what I'm saying?
generation, man, shit, that ain't like anybody that says that they're not really
No,
looking
but
at.
no, yeah, never
Go
mind that.
ahead.
But never mind that.
Okay,
Even
okay.
if I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is, let's say they that does happen, even though it might not. What we gonna be left with? We gonna end up with a situation where all these women out here with kids and them been ran through. What's gonna happen with them? Are we advocating to marry these women to make them stepmothers? Like either no matter how you look at it, we're gonna end up
All right, so
with a
hold on,
generation.
because I want to answer your question the way you're asking it. So you're saying, as an intellectual exercise, let's assume that the Z's start getting married, or like the Alphas start getting married, whichever
Yeah,
gen.
yeah, right.
Let's pick a generation
The
that's after
Z's,
millennials, and then they start marriage start increasing. You're
right.
saying what is going to be left up to, let's say, the millennials that at that point to be in their late 30s, 40s.
Yeah, our generation, like our generation of women, the ones that been they hoeing around, they got mad kids.
The
Cause
same thing that's happening now to the Xers. They gonna be out here. Look at the cocktail bitches on Foxhole. Only one of them are married. Yeah, we go in there and look. They had their shots. It ain't like they were just out there. Fucking Claudia Jordan, all of them. They just gonna be out there. Like
and
they're gonna be spinsters, or they gonna be out there like Obsidian and them
mm,
say. Like,
yeah,
oh, and I'm gonna tell you because here's the thing. Here's the thing. The difference between now and the past, you got too many women don't leave the market. They're not leaving the market because
right,
the
right.
older they get, the more they want. Now, the smart ones will realize, okay, I'm in a fucking SMV free fall. Let me jump on this net that's in the middle rather than wait till I'm at the bottom thinking I'm gonna bounce back up, and then you out here looking like Nicole Murphy or something. You know, the smart ones do that, but most of them ain't that smart. Most of them ain't that smart to catch that, and if they are, they'll catch it like in their mid 30s. Most of them, once you get into 40 plus, look, man, I'm sorry. Once you get 40 plus, man, you're washed. You're washed. When you look at the standards that these women have and what they want, we're talking about economically, you're washed. There's just no point. And what that's doing is that's creating a supply problem. Like in North Carolina right now, there's a lack of houses, and housing prices are going up, even though the interest rate is going down. And for women, that's going to be a reverse. What happens when the pussy supply is up? The price of pussy is down, which also leads for more men to not want to commit because they don't have to. See, men used to have to commit to get pussy. We're entering a situation where you don't. Now, a lot of dudes, what they can do, they can fuck older women to get access to pussy because those women are going to want more companionship because they're more lonely. So they're going to be fucked. That's it. I mean, it's nothing you're going to be able to do. The government can't save them. You know what's going to happen, dude? They're going to, whose job it is to basically usher women from that stage to death in a very comfortable way? Ask me who?
Who?
The black pastor. And they get compensated very well to do that. They're going to tell these women God's going to give them a man all the way up, and they're going to get paid via tithes all the way up till they arrive to the grave. That's what's happening now, and that's what's going to happen continue.
But you want to know what else is going to happen in this? Like, let's say that this does play out. What's going to happen is we're going to develop like a class system because all their kids that don't got no fathers around, they're going to be
Yeah,
competing
it'll be
with.
like Brazil.
What's going on in Brazil?
Well, Brazil is structured where you have the elite and then you have everybody else that ain't got no money. You see it with niggas that can't read now. Just because they can't read and write don't mean they ain't got no sexual marketplace value that these women ain't gonna want. And these dumbasses gonna have kids with them like idiots. And the thing that'll be a big deal is if a woman pulls like an Angela Simmons, because then she's just gonna jump down. Fuck shit up.
But that could be dangerous too, though. Like if we do develop a class system, if they outnumber the ones that are getting married,
that's not my problem. I don't control society. The people that are controllers. Because honestly, dude, the easy answer is to reform the laws. Not and I've made it. My solution is you give what I call breadwinner rights. And breadwinner rights does not have to be like men. That could be gender neutral, because a lot of these women that make more money than dudes, let's say the dude, that's the best dude they can get from an SMB standpoint. So they deal with that dude, which never gets talked about, right? Do you think them women want to pay this fucking money? And that's and a lot of these dudes are starting to take that check from these chicks too. Dude, Mary J. Blige, all of that. So it's an incentive. You would think there's an incentive for women to want to activate that, so that gives them more access to dudes. That allows them to simp more for the dudes that they want, because they can use the money that they make as an ability. Then your money might matter. It really won't, but it'll matter more, and you be protected. And obviously, men are going to more benefit from that as well, because the kinetic issue with getting married is not going to be there. But you won't see no political party talking about that, including conservatives. When have you ever heard any conservative talk about marriage reform? But they're the pro family. Anybody heard that?
I don't think they see it as a problem.
No, they know it's a problem. They don't care, because they understand that if you don't do shit,
it's working for them though. Because
I got you, Alonzo.
If you don't for them.
If you don't do shit the right way, that's a form of class control. So again, the people that control shit don't care. Let me get these super chats that I got, Alonzo. Man, it was a song back in the day that said, "Play at your own risk. If you want to get married, do you." But we're actually preventing future red pill ragers from dudes who believe. Not me though. Absolutely. And that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because I forgot to bring that up on the thing. We know at the end of the day how women are. It's like that scorpion and a frog cross the river allegory. The women are gonna do what they gonna do. You got all these women talk about finessing and all of that. Y'all gonna create these PJ Tuckers, and them niggas gonna be way worse than any of us, because they're gonna feel the inch of betrayal. So we know what y'all women go do at the end of the day. So if these niggas want to get married and believe, go ahead. Shout out Fantastic for the $10, Ramil for the $10 as well. Appreciate that. Make sure you all like the stream, share the stream. And Alonzo, what's up?
What's going on, Edward? What's happening, gentlemen? Everybody watching out live. I believe I'm the only one currently on the panel who's married. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's great, because you deal with a lot of finances and insurance and stuff, so you can definitely speak to some of the stuff that's been talked about when it comes to the financial, like tax benefits and stuff when it comes to marriage. So go ahead.
Big facts. There are huge tax benefits that come with marriage. So one of the things, obviously, now it's strange because before I got married, I didn't believe in marriage, and even until I proposed to my wife, I really wasn't one who believed I was ever going to get married. But over time, through our relationship, me and my wife, her being there for me and doing certain things and certain circumstances arose for the both of us, that made me realize, she's in this for the long haul. I'm in this for the long haul. One of the things I always talk about is vetting. And not just the woman, but her family, right? So see what kind of friends she got, what kind of family dynamic she has, right? Because a lot of us, let's be honest, fellas, right? How many of us, especially in the Black community, we know that there is a lack of quote unquote good men, right? And so if you are a guy with a job in the Black community, the median income is what, less than $40,000? I think it's like $37,000. So if you're making 40 grand in the hood you're pretty good if you're making like 45, 50 grand, right? So you're looked up to, and a lot of females are gonna pursue that. So you got to vet and see. Look, is this girl full of a family of um harlots who are gonna be like, all right, well, she got this dude, but I'm a pretty chick too. Let me, show him some skin, and men are weak. She spends the night over the house. Oh, your girl went to work. I'm here in my thong, and it's dirty. Can you wash it for me? Oops, I bent over. Come on, son. We've all been in those situations. So, you know, you have to
Hmm.
vet the woman for that. You got to realize also one thing that I don't think a lot of men who have not experienced being married don't understand. When you walk around and you're wearing a wedding ring, that makes you a target. So you end up being approached more by women and pursued more aggressively. They'll put themselves in predicaments to have to interact with you more.
Alonzo, I don't mean to cut you off, but they just you just gave them a benefit that nobody has mentioned yet. You're most likely gonna get a higher value because of that, in the eyes of women. But that's something that nobody's mentioned before yet in this combo. Go ahead.
Oh, being married and women, yeah, women place value on that because they figure you're not afraid of commitment. So if they can get to you, then maybe you'll commit to them. And this goes for all women, not just black, but obviously, there's obviously in the black community more competition. And when it comes to things like finances, man, it's terrible. Actually, myself and my advisor Talani were talking, and we were looking at. She was saying it's embarrassing to look at some of the statistics of black women, right? And she was like, our net worth is $5, and I was like, unfortunately, black men aren't much more. We're double at 10, but our net worth is $10. And this isn't guys who are broke. This is guys who have a Hellcat with the Scat Pack. This is guys who are making $150,000 a year, right? So these aren't, unfortunately, what ends up happening is there's a lot of uncovering that occurs, right? So one of the scenarios that I talk about often is a gentleman who I sat with who was 50 years old 2 years ago for life insurance. And he declined to get a policy that 2 years ago. Fast forward 20, and at the time his daughter was 17. Fast forward 2 years today, well, not today, but in 2021, recently this year, he died at the age of 52. How's it going, sweetheart? And when he died, his daughter was 19. So at 19, his daughter is now college age, and he has a mortgage. So those two things that just got left, he died and she left. She put up a $10,000 GoFundMe. So he now left this woman uncovered because she's college age, going to college, can't pay her college tuition, and can't pay this mortgage. So what's she gonna do? Well, she gonna go her little hot ass out there, have a little fat butt, and realize that some thug dude with a wave cap and a buy here, pay here BMW that has 300,000 miles on it and no odometer is gonna clap them cheeks for $40, get it pregnant, and bounce. Then productive men like the men who
Damn.
are on these panels, right? Productive men who are like the men who are on these panels who get called out and talked about crying and bitching up and red pill rage and blah blah blah. And I get it because I say some of that stuff too, even though I frequent the spaces. Sometimes it does get a little tiring to hear about women. But it's the situation that we're dealing with and we finally have a voice to speak about it. But now panelists like us will be sitting here like, yo, this chick is for the streets, man. She don't want to have Pookie's baby and da da da. But we don't realize that as men, we can't look through the crack of the door. Her father needed to bust the door open and realize, damn, COVID is going on. I just bought a $150,000 house in Michigan. I work for Ford, and my daughter's about to go to college in 2 years. I ain't got her college paid for. This life insurance policy that's gonna cost me $100 a month. This dude just told me about will make a lot of sense, right? Now let's
Yeah.
talk about family planning. right?
Okay, one second. Let me
Go
get
ahead.
these super chats. So one thing is they
Yeah.
saying they tend to shout out to Harambe, Black Men Network. Is it $10? Get your fast rate. They seem to have a problem with that. And then I don't want to be a good man during Revelations and Hopeism, which stabs boys and men in the back upon demon
Democratic.
democratic state of contradictions. All right, man. Yeah, appreciate the $10. Yeah, we'll get back to the $10, but I'm assuming you're going somewhere with this with the family. So you're on family planning.
Yeah, man. Like it's just like this. Like fellas, you got to plan for your future, for your family, right? It's just like if we execute a business plan, right? You don't execute a business plan and day one just jump out the window and do business. You write an executive summary. You have a 5-year forecast, a 10-year forecast, a 20-year forecast, hopefully a 30+ year forecast, and an exit strategy, right? So you got to have the same thing for if you are going to get married or not, right? And like I said, I'm a proponent of marriage because I am married. But if you're gonna vet that woman, make sure that that woman is a utility for you and not just cooking and cleaning. And that's something you should know how to do too. That's like saying a car should come with tires. So let's
I
get
get what you're saying. Go ahead.
because women are specific, right? Women, even though they might be delusional, they got the six. I want a man with a 6-pack, 6 feet tall, $6,000 a day, and da da da. Okay, cool. They might be delusional, but they have a clear, defined something that they want. Oftentimes, when we hear men, like Anton Daniels will even ask men, and I ask men, what deal? And I hear, cooking and cleaning. Hey, I'm gonna pause right quick. I got a phone call coming.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. So yeah, I want to piggyback off what he said. Here's the thing. I know. See, some of y'all are kind of barking back at that, but I get what he was saying. He was just kind of going around the way about it, and a lot of that was importantness at the table. What he's essentially saying is, no matter what you do, you should be able to tell. Like, I'm not saying it's anybody else's business, but to the extent that you want to disclose it, you should be able to tell folks, whether it's your friends or whoever, like what you're doing. Like, let me give you a perfect example. Take somebody, spiritual logic is diametrically opposed to marriage. But you cannot say the spiritual logic, hey, you cannot tell he has not very much thought about what he wants to do, and he has a plan for what he wants to do and why he wants to do it. Whether he executes is another thing, but he definitely, and I believe he is executing it. But the thing is, you can tell there's a lot of thought there as to what he wants to do and why he wants to do it. AM1 is another dude, same deal, who is not married and will be diametrically opposed. Ramil, same thing. But you have a lot of dudes in this space that they are very good at saying what not to do. But if you say what are you doing, they don't really know. And that's not to say that that's most of the people in this space, but there is something there with that. That's something that's worth separating. So he brought up life insurance because we know black people cross the border about life insurance, and somebody that had a daughter but didn't plan for that because black men need to understand that we die early. Most of us, I just picked up a black dude that was 70 years old in my car once I got out of a grocery store, helping a dude out. This was a black dude and 70, so you never know. And people always say they're gonna get there, they get there. So and this other part too is when it comes now in this space, we tend to think, we tend to plan, but we tend to be very reactionary. And then as far as the marriage conversation, and this is a criticism I've had of it, is there is nobody really talking about that planning thing. If you want to do it, this is why, these are the pitfalls, and this is what you need to look out for. Like one of the things he said, because I've said this too, you need to look at the family, And to be fair, Anton is at least presenting that. And that goes back to what I said in the beginning of my video is I originally was telling folks to look, if you were somebody that you wanted to look at marriage, he might be a channel because he was bringing people up that people could have that conversation. But see, what Anton did was Anton basically looked at red pill as antagonistic. He looked at it more glass half empty versus glass half full. And he did exactly what Jason Black did, which is come at us like we're out here hurting these people. And he made all these accusations about, well, we doing this to make money. And a lot of us are married. That are like basically anybody that's got a successful channel, chances are they're married. And then they're just capping about marriage. So they're talking ain't no nigga in this space really talking against marriage that are married. Grown man business said too, if you're gonna have kids, that's when you want to look at marriage. But they ain't really talking against marriage. Like this idea that motherfuckers just straight lying on marriage, is bullshit. But so he threw a lot of those accusations out. And again, I get it. As an internet marketer, I know what it is to go into a niche and then you're new in the niche. So you're not really hitting stuff that's 100% on target. It's called research. But so people want us to reproduce or marry some with the most women ever, modern black women born in society. So Harambe, understand something. Alonzo didn't say shit about what race you marry. He said, and he even said that he didn't think he was going to get married. He didn't get married until it just organically happened, which is another thing. Black men have a right to change their opinion on it if they find a situation that fits them. What we are saying is you all need to be very aware of what you're getting. See, the biggest thing is not so much, it is, but it's not so much about, and shout out for the $5 super chat. You're at $10 now. Appreciate that. Make sure y'all hit the Cash App. Shout out to Mr. Bentley for the $5 Cash App. It's not so much about being anti-marriage. It's more about you being able to make the case as why you want to get married. Fuck me and fuck anybody on this panel and fuck anybody on in the chat. We're talking about you personally. If I would have asked you, why are you marrying her? Because I love her. Why else? Because I want to have kids with her. Why else? Exactly. You don't really know. You're being led by your fucking feelings. And remember, Anton even said, well, I get married because it's the business. Most niggas are not getting married because of business. I can believe Alonzo probably that was a factor in him, because you can see his person, see what he's talking about before.
Well, that was a huge factor.
Exactly. But Alonzo, you think that's what most niggas are getting married over? Business. They think that like and I'm not
fair, a lot of dudes get married out of loneliness.
That's true. And to be fair too, I'm not saying that business has to be the number one reason. But is that even in the orbit? Is that like in the inner planets as to what somebody's thinking about? Hell no. Because the truth is, if a nigga was really about his business, unless he got bread like that, he would be like, I'll tell you right now, he'd be like, look, man, we need a small ceremony, because guess what? When we get on, we can always have see, this is the thing. Smart dudes would be like, look, we can have a ceremony, but we can always have another ceremony. You can always renew your vows. I think
one thing I want to speak to that, actually, because speaking of the finances, so as a married man, if you are interested in getting married, do not, I repeat, do not go balls to the wall spending money for this one day. What you should do is have a small ceremony at the courthouse, justice of the peace, and then if you want to have a party or whatever, rent out the hall, that's cool. But for the most part, all that money that you would spend on that ceremony, you can do things like stack up and buy a house.
What age were you when you got married?
32.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much the right age based on what a lot of people say. Kevin standards, all that. Pretty much, yeah, that was a good one. I know people always say like later than 35 and 40. I don't know if I necessarily go along with that, but I understand why they say it. But even Dennis, I've heard Dennis say that. But and that's another thing too that a lot of people sitting there talk. When you hear all these women, one woman on my panel like a week ago asked me, well, why should black men get married? I'm like, bitch, don't get married. You ask me, I'm gonna say don't. I'm not here to convince you to get married. And that speaks to a lot of dudes. And then go back to what he said about the loneliness thing. Yes, and that's a big factor in my opinion as to why a lot of I'm not saying all black, but a lot of black men be wanting to get married. Like when they say more black men want to get married than black women. Well, more black women don't have a loneliness problem. They just got an issue with their standards. So if they lower their standards enough, a nigga will show up. Not saying they got to have bottom standards, but if they come off of that 666 shit, 6-pack, 6 figures, 6 foot, then generally, unless they just bust it to the wall, a nigga show up. Now, the quality of that nigga may not be great if you're looking at certain metrics, but loneliness is typically not an issue. That's why they got all this abusive bullshit going on. But a lot of the reason these dudes want to get married more, you're right. I think loneliness plays a big factor into that, and it doesn't get talked about. And this is another reason why a lot of dudes be going into situations is bullshit. Because they're not going into marriage for business. They're not going in, like, we black men come from a gynocracy. You have exceptions to this, but overall, a lot of dudes. This is why a lot of these dudes wind up in submissive positions when they get married, because they're not actively writing their own destiny. And if you take your foot off the steering wheel, that bitch is gonna grab it, and she gonna be, a lot of times she gonna be looking to grab it. Now, this is not everybody, but dudes, just black men get too passive. So in the manosphere, the biggest thing when we create these debates is we want to challenge you to see if there's a lot there. And what we find with a lot of dudes, it turns into they want to justify their position versus being able to articulate it in a way that can make sense to somebody that may be open to the option. Because a lot of dudes are not diametrically opposed to marriage. It's more like, marriage, I'm not motivated to want to go out and get married. Does that make sense?
Total sense.
Like, I don't see that it's a fucking life goal. If the right chick in the right circumstances show up, I'm not going to sit there and slam the fucking door in the face. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you dealing with it's a female that you may say she's straight for the stroke, but I'm not about to sit there and walk up to her and buy her a fucking drink. Now, if she come to me and basically offer for free, I probably won't say no, but I'm not about to put a lot of, you know, forward momentum to make that happen. Now, marriage is obviously something that's a lot more important, but what I'm saying is a lot of dudes are just not, oh, well, you got to get married, because we don't live in a patriarchy. And that's another thing that doesn't get talked about. A lot of dudes want to talk about, well, why don't people talk to marriage? Well, unfortunately, this is the cost of having a fucking gynocracy or a matriarchy, whatever the fuck you want to call it. These hoes don't want to get married, or they see marriage as not a duty. They see marriage as a fucking golden parachute. And a lot of dudes are starting to they allow marriage to be looked at as like being a stepfather. It's basically another way to bail out an old bitch. Old pussy for she give you old pussy if you bail her out. That's not an equally yoked transaction. I don't give a damn what she does. Anyway, American Negro writes, I'm married because her and her fam have a bag. Sound like Georgia Boy. It took me out of baby daddy status, added to a deed on a house. No prenup. She's half Cuban. Dad likes me. Yeah. Hey, good job. Ain't nobody hating on you for that. I think Georgia Boy has a similar situation. Shit, marry into that bag. But again, a lot of dudes, you know, they talk about, well, you gotta be fucking six figures and then deal with these hoes that ain't got nothing to lose. And when I say hoes, I'm using that generally. You know what I mean? Shit. So anyway, but yeah, now a question, you know, you're insurance, you're in finance. What are some of the financial benefits? Because that was one of the things that was harped at on the last video when it comes to marriage.
That's actually great.
Like tax benefits and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things is MFJ, married filing jointly, is the most beneficial tax status. It's like head of household twice. Right?
What is that? We're going to explain it. Go ahead.
Well, when you're filing head of household, you're going to get the most, deductions available to you, and the most things able to write off, etc., etc. So the same thing applies for married couples, especially because income requirements increase. So for something that may have disqualified you for, like, let's say, public assistance, right? Now, you know, I'm not for public assistance, but let's just use that as something that everybody understands how it works. So because of a single person, you may not have qualified for it, but simply being married, you may qualify for, let's say, low-income housing because you have X amount of people in your family. Now, this is not to say go pick up, 14 kids so you can go get yourself a nice little 3-bedroom apartment. No. What it is, though, is there are situations where it's beneficial One being that, two actually things like emergency contacts, or even when it comes to like retirement, right? So, say you got a woman that has a good job and she gets a pension, and say y'all get older and she dies before you, you get that pension, or you die before her, she gets that pension, and you can leave that to your wife and kids, as opposed to just being taxed by the state for dying what's called intestate. But then another thing, um, and this is kind of directed specifically toward the black community. Um, they get upset a lot of the times when they'll see like, we'll use a stereotype. They'll see a black guy gets money and goes with a Becky, but there's a reason for that, and the reason for that is often we realize that
Uh-oh.
Becky comes from a family that, or comes from, is more likely to have come from a background where she's able to deal with finances, right? Whereas, Keisha is more likely to have grown up with me. And if she grew up with me, I don't know nobody who's, greatly financially literate in, our community. Maybe Oprah, but she's not directly, linked to me. So just that, even though it's a probably a false thing, it's a perception. And that's why you'll see a lot of dudes do things like that. Because they may be planning for their wealth. So they think, well, and then with things like the one drop rule, they'll say, well, look, my kids are black because one drop makes them black. So I'm leaving generational wealth to black kids. Just because I married a white girl doesn't mean whatever.
No, don't do that. That's coon talk. I get what you're saying.
I'm
See
not,
this? No. The reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of people that start caping for marriage, when dudes start really having the fucking conversation, it starts spinning off into outside of the. It starts spinning off into maybe SYSBM and what's in. Because here's the thing that people don't on not Ramil's, Fantastic joint. Every time you ask, like, the benefits of marriage, the shit always defaulted to what's in the woman's best interest. The benefits, like, they defaulted, they were given like standard benefits, but it wasn't like why a man would want to do it. Only for him. Now, I get what you said about leaving kids and stuff like that to wife and stuff. Yes, that's something he may consider, but why would he want to do this or do that or do that? Like, the tax thing jumped out to me when you said that. They're not thinking it that way. They're thinking, well, how marriage benefits me. And this is the type of shit. It's like, look, you need to sell marriage to dudes. Because the truth is, the majority of black men may want to get married, but y'all keep acting like just because they want to get married, and they'll say, oh, well, more successful black men want to get married. Well, that don't mean they're going to want to marry you. Oh, well, more successful black men are, because this is what Obsidian will say. He'll say, well, black men that make over six figures, they're more likely to get with, he tries to sell it like black men that make over six figures are more likely to get with their own race, like every other group. Well, that depends on what generation you're talking about. Because if you're talking about like millennials and zillennials, that's not necessarily gonna be the case.
Well, it also comes to the exposure, right? So when you get a certain wealth or a certain class, you're going to be in a certain audience, right? So when you're in that audience, certain people are going to be there. And so if I'm, and also looking at marriage, this is a benefit. If I'm going to, let's say I'm going to the Yale Symphony here in New Haven, Connecticut. All right, brother, have a good one. Nice cut, bro. Yeah, I'm outside of my barbershop out here. Let me cam up real quick just to show a quick, Alonzo Hall, the all-star visor, right? The all-star lineup. But
my bad. Fucking shit thing was like all up in that picture.
I'm sorry, shameless plug, man. You told me how to do that mode stuff, man, when it comes to sales, and will we be listening?
No, absolutely. You got to do that. Yep.
Big facts. But so what ends up happening is, like I said, they realize, this lady comes from money. So it's more likely that, I can plan that lineage. But even for my own behest, These women have to be in these circles because if I'm going to, the Yale Symphony to sit with a client, I need someone who understands how to fit in there, right? I can't have a chick who's like, here's, the beginning part of a symphony drop and thinks it's, about to be Cardi B song who sampled it. You know what I mean? That can mess me up in business. So you also need to look at them as like an accessory, right? So they are your Birkin bag. Does that make sense?
No, that makes absolute sense. And this is important because a lot of these dudes are gonna be picking bait. This is where I'm sorry, this is where that like a lot of them 92s be one of them light skinned chicks. A lot of times, a lot of that is associated with certain things, even though obviously Cardi B, that's not always the case. And nobody gives a fuck about your issues because this is a class situation. And see, this is where Kevin talks about this a lot. Anton probably talks about this a lot. He alludes to it. Kevin actually talks about it. He alludes to it. Even somebody like Glendon Cameron, which doesn't come from an elite background like that, he still sees that as somebody that like he's been at that level long enough and he's lived around those people long enough. Because he talks about that when he's breaking down like where Sandy Springs versus Buckhead, how Buckhead's got. So again, the thing about it is dudes are not, and that's another thing to consider. Dudes are not going to look for what your potential is. They're going to look for where you're at now because they're not talking about they're not talking about you being business ready. They're talking about you being ready for presentation. And that's not the same thing as when it comes to sex. But the point is, whenever this debate is being had in the manosphere, it's always in the context of what black men need to do to marry black women. And black women are not, when you hear the shit black women say, there is no separation. Like Anton was saying, oh, well, we could have a conversation about where you need to go as far as certain circles and shit like that. Well, here's the thing. If you're a black man, you want to marry a black woman, because a lot of black men are like, look, if I can't marry a black woman, I ain't even trying to get married. It ain't no black women out here. I ain't just trying to get married to get married. I'm trying to get married to do kids and shit. And if I ain't trying to have kids, that's another thing. If you ain't trying to have kids, right? Because it's 53% of black men that don't have kids, not because they necessarily don't want to, but they're not motivated to have kids at the moment. They're not going to be motivated to get married. So when you sit there and say, well, do you want to get married, because your kids should, you can raise kids better. Well, first of all, no, kids with two parents do better. Not necessarily, the paper don't matter. The matters is, are they in under the same household? But number two, a lot of black men ain't even trying to have kids like that because of a lot of child support and all that other bullshit. So you saying that the dudes that ain't got kids don't move the fucking needle. It just doesn't. And then if the dudes get to a certain socioeconomic level, before people want to get married, then their standards are going to skyrocket at that point too. Because why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it at that point? So again, these conversations are always brought up from the perspective of what can men do for women. And then they try to flip it like men benefit from serving women. And they try to give all this traditional bullshit. Well, I cook and I clean, I do that. Man, you're going to have to do way more than that bullshit. The shit that you said as far as the presentation thing, the accessory, that's the thing that would move me. And most of these women, and I've dated women, the women I date, that I actually date, not just fuck, those women have that component. But again, a lot of these black men do not write their own destiny because they're not really thinking about it like that because they weren't raised to think about it like that. Like these dudes women talk about why aren't black men getting married. Big reason why black men get married, if you take out all the stuff that the manosphere says, is because black men are not raised to be patriarchal. Black men are not raised to look at marriage as to how it benefits them from a empire standpoint. They see marriage as how can I serve a woman? And that's easier to do when you love her. This is why even black men, what do they talk about? It's always love when it comes to marriage. It's never the business side. They assume that shit's gonna fucking fix itself, and it doesn't. If you are not actively thinking about what you need to do to move your shit, then chances are that shit's gonna do it for you, and it's generally not gonna work out well. Let me see. I will say this. I got a dude that I know they got married that worked at my job. He was an operations manager. and he got married. He had a Chrysler 300, and he upgraded to like one of them newer Jaguars, basically from a $35,000 car to like an $80,000 car. He did this in the front end of the marriage. And he had all this stress. He was bothered because I was sales manager at the time, bothering me about getting his agent. He got the laziest agents because he wanted to be the fucking cool ops manager. And I told him about that. I said, you want to be the cool dude, and you need to be fucking driving these bitches. And I said it just like that because we have a majority of women in there. But I said, dude, too, you need to be driving these motherfuckers and stop leaving the work to me. And anyway, long story short, I found out he was doing that because he was trying to make payments. And I said, nigga, you, and then my boss brought him in because I was in a flagship site. So my boss, sales, like regional, was actually in the site. And we all had a conversation. And he jumped on him. He said, I'm married too. And I know what it is. You sat there and you upgraded this. You did that. You basically set a very high expectation for marriage. So she's going to look at you shit either going up or going down. You should have started where you are, incrementally went up. Not, no, we're going to start up and then keep going up. So now the pressure's on. And it's just in her nature to see the shit is either doing better or doing worse. That's how she's going to see it because you set that expectation. And that's why he was fucking getting on my nerves, driving me, because he wanted to make those payments, get them commission checks. And I was like, yeah, and that's what it was. He said, you fucked up. Like, I was like, damn. And then he said, you know why I buy shit from the Goodwill? I buy clothes from the Goodwill because I know how to dress. Because women used to comment on how he dressed a lot. Like this is my regional manager saying this. And he said, I also do that because that way my wife will always feel guilty for asking me for shit. He said, all I got is my truck.
That's funny.
And that's it. Now, he buys stuff for her. Like, she gets stuff. But it's a mechanism to kind of control that a little bit, you know? Because he didn't always use that, but he had that if he needed to. Because he was a big fan. He wanted his kids to go to Duke. He was like, they have no choice. They're going to Duke, you know, and that's expensive. So that was also the long-term plan. So unfortunately, his wife passed. Setting dudes are not thinking that way because the bitch is supposed to be in love. Yes, you can love her. And look, I understand this shit sounds it sounds easy the way I'm making it sound. Look, I know it. That's why I always tell y'all, if you trust a woman, that's where you make a decision. Because once you start to love her, you might do some dumbass shit like PJ Washington did. You can't be told shit. It don't matter.
You will.
Yeah. And so that's another reason why the manosphere hammers this so hard. Because we know if you get in that mode with a chick, if this isn't hammered into you, that shit will overwhelm that shit. It will. And I know, especially if you get the type of chick you want. That's why I was so hard on PJ Washington. Because I was like, it's not so much to beat him up, it's for other dudes. Ain't nobody gonna give a fuck. Ain't nobody gonna care. Like, you have to hold that. I understand it's hard, but you got to hold that frame. You gotta, and practice repetition is the mother of skill. David Carroll, well, other people said that, but I heard from David Carroll, but other people said that. And if you don't have these thoughts in you early, if you get those emotions in you, that shit is just gonna be washed. And then you're gonna wake up and you're gonna wonder what the fuck happened, why this bitch betrayed me, how did it happen? Because I promise you, they may be in love, but they ain't never so much in love that they leaving ass out there. Not because women are bad, but because them other females be in their ear.
It's in women's nature to look for her optimum and most protected situation, right? That's why when we look at like fathers and daughters and fathers and sons, we treat our sons differently. But see, when a son gets to a certain age, as the father, we put him out because as a man, when just like with mothers, with single mothers, they say, "What you smelling your nuts?" Well, when there's a man around and there's true masculine energy to masculine energy, yeah, it's like two rams butting heads. Unfortunately, when there's just a mother around, She doesn't need to have that masculine energy, which she generally comes with, because she's taken care of by outside circumstances, which other countries don't have, right? Um, but so our daughters, we're trained to, keep and hold and nurture. But we got to be careful when we do that, because we're spoiling them, and realize that we're leaving them out here to become trash for these men. Now, speaking of trash, let's realize Kevin Samuels said, what, 1 in 4 black women would be married. Let's realize that that doesn't mean that one's great and the other three are just piss poor women. Some of them are being overlooked, and that's some. You know what I mean? Sometimes there are some things that we may have to concede to. We spoke about settling, but I'm not going to say settling, because the settlers were like the 1949ers in the gold rush, right? They went out into the wilderness, into the unknown, and planted roots. So we're not going to call it settling, but we'll say we concede to certain things. And I'm not saying get, baby mama with 15 kids or some super fat broad or nothing like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, but you gotta be absolutely clear about what the fuck you want. And most of these dudes are not absolutely clear. They're not clear. And here's the thing. I don't care what they want as far as whether you want to get married or don't get married. Are you clear? Like AM1, I know you're clear. Ramil, I know you're clear. Spiritual, I know he's clear. But a lot of dudes are not clear. They just aimless. What they used to say back in the day. Well, not back in the day, but 20 years ago, I didn't think I lived to my 30s. So
Mhm.
just assume you didn't have to do shit. Like you just like for real. Like what does that mean when people used to say that shit? I think I make it to my 30. Well, shit, you could join the military till you're 35. Most motherfuckers don't even know that. You got motherfuckers that they out here homeless and they don't even realize, nigga, all you got to do, I mean, you obviously it depends on, how much they need people, like, if it's easy or natural guard, but there's things you can do, but people don't think about that. So this is about clarity. And the thing about marriage is a lot of people want folks to get married for their reasons, not for what's in the best interest of the dude. So they want you to have as little information as possible. Now, obviously we are focused on what could happen, because at the end of the day, if you fall in love with a bitch, you're going to marry it just off of that. So if you're not thinking about what could happen, all the other business stuff. And another thing I used to say too, and I said before y'all came up here, ain't like we going out our way to attack niggas that's making pro-marriage content. But the one criticism that I make is, are you really giving good information, or are you just trying to sell the shit on some roundabout way? And I even promoted Anton early on, saying, look, if you are if you want to get married as a man, it's not my job to tell you what not to do, because you're going to do what the fuck you want to do anyway. I'm just a nigga on YouTube. But if you want to get that, rather than me saying to not do it, and then you just ignore me, and then you listen to somebody that's going to speak to what you want to do, but never tell you how to do it in a smart way. This dude is talking about it, and maybe you might get some insight from him. I've listened to a couple of his videos and this. But what he turned around and did is he wanted to make all these ad hominems attack. Look, you can critique the manosphere. That's not the problem. The problem is when you start saying Pookies and Ray Rays are basically the trolls that are Pookies and Ray Rays are typically not red pill. So when you start throwing everything wrong with black men is under the red pill moniker, okay, well that's the textbook definition of bashing. Anyway, before I let you go, because I'm about to end this in a little bit, what is your thoughts? I'm curious as to what your thoughts on the PJ Washington, Brittany Renner situation. Are you familiar with that?
Not 100%. I know he ran into something crazy, but I wasn't following.
Okay, so PJ Washington is he's a high draft pick. He was a high draft pick a couple of years ago. He's on the Charlotte Hornets right now. So you got LaMelo Ball, I believe, Leandro, whatever the fucking name is. Anyway, they're God's house, whatever. He got a good contract, whatever. Brittany Renner is an Instagram chick, Instagram thought, light skinned chick. In fact, I might pull end it by pulling some like doing a screen share. But basically he was actually with her all the way. This is a chick who's been an Instagram chick for like years now, maybe 7-8 years. She's 29 now. She was a fitness model at first, so she did that fitness thought hustle kind of thing. And now, and basically she was dealing with dude. She's 29. He's, I think, what, 18, 19. And she was with him even when he was in Kentucky. So she's been like on him for a minute because she's the, and Brittany Renner is the chick that wrote the book. She wrote the book about all the dudes that she slept with.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they did not Corinne Steffens. This is the next chick that did it. Like this is Tiana Trump, an Instagram, basically a porn star, and Brittany Renner is to her right.
Okay.
So these are the people she's dealing with. These are the people. These are the people that she is that her too. No, it's not. But these are the people that she's dealing with. Let me see. Ticket TV actually has a great video that I'm about to stream as well. But anyway, he's on the hook for $200,000 a month, and she basically broke up with him as soon as she had the baby.
Dang.
And he's saying that the relationship was fake. You lied to me, and you know what she responded by saying? She's saying, "You knew what this was. You read my book."
Well, I can understand that. That's crazy, but here's what you gotta do, man. You gotta protect yourself, right? Especially when you get bred like that. One of the ways, and this is why a lot of people are proponents of marriage. You know, you can have things in there where if you're married and she deceived you with a baby, you know, there was a case, and I know it's an outlier, of a man in Asia who sued the woman because she had plastic surgery and the babies were born. They ain't look nothing like him and her with plastic surgery. So he was like, yo, these babies are ugly. I want a divorce. You know what I mean? But so you have to find ways where you protect yourself when you get put in those positions. And part of that is to do things like be on spaces like this and listen to older men, right? Men who
like
may have been
like,
here.
she's wearing that Kentucky shirt. This is because of the dude, because she used to be in the Kentucky game. So yeah, she wasn't marked. She was marking his ass.
That's crazy. But yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? You got to realize, man, you got a target on your back. If you make $1, you have a target on your back. There's a woman who wants half of it, right? Now, you just got to realize that you may not even recognize that they're there, but they're coming for you. So, like I said, one of the biggest things is to vet. And he did see her book, right? But he's young, so he was enamored. Oh my God, I got this hot chick, da 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 da. And nobody in his circle was like, bro, number one, she older than you. She got, you know.
That's what people say. That's what people say, but I don't believe that. I believe he couldn't be told shit about her, because you got to think coaches are gonna have their opinion. When you come up the track that he went up with, he's got the coach at A. Because if he went to Kentucky, that means he's dealing with Perry. Yeah, he keeps it real. He didn't talk to enough black women. He keeps it real with them. And even if he didn't, because he's white, you got your you coach. You got, because that's not just like the typical chick. That's a 29-year-old on an 17, 18-year-old. You know what I'm saying? That people are gonna say something just off of that, because it's like, you know. So I gotta believe somebody said something. You know, everybody want to make it. I just don't. No, I get what you're saying, but I've heard that before. I don't think nobody's not saying nothing because it's just an awful look. But
But that also goes back to the, like I was saying with the Brad, man. You know what I'm saying? So he's probably like, yo, she been an Instagram model. She older than me, so she knows how to handle money. You know what I'm saying? She's light skinned, so she's got the white privilege. This, that, and the third place. 50, what it do, cut? You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yo, we've got all this different, you know.
They said PJ grew up with both of his parents, by the way.
She said what?
He said PJ grew up with both his parents. They're saying that in the chat.
Oh, damn. I don't know. That's crazy. Then dude was a fool, and fellas, you can't just don't jump out the window with your heart, man. If you really love her, then you know she got to have something to give up for you, other than sex. Like, make sure that there's something she can lose to. And with that being said, I'm gonna hop off.
All right, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Thanks for having me out, brother.
All right, so he's off. I'm gonna end this by playing this. I'm gonna play this out. This is actually from Ticket TV's video. You know, we agree 100% with this. Look, Brittany Renner's an attractive person, but real talk. First of all, I know what she looked like before all this bullshit. So let's be clear. She was like not even an average. She was actually not attractive. She's the type of chick. that like the way her face was structured before she got like messed with it, she would look like dudes wouldn't, black men wouldn't really want to fuck with her like that because she just looked too white and not in a good way as far as her face, and then white dudes wouldn't fuck with her. So she got the shit done, and then she got. I'll give her credit for the body as far as the fitness stuff, but there is what it is. But again, if you want to fuck, that's cool, fuck. But you know, you didn't see Nick Cannon really having all these babies with all the bitches he was fucking and wilding out. I mean, again, these like grown man business said, these women are for recreational use. And you know what? That's another thing too. That's another thing that really I wish grown man business would have got up there when Anton was up there, because he's one of the best ones when we speak to this. Because Anton was literally talking about you're creating rats. No, you're not. And that is the biggest thing that tells me he don't know what the fuck is going on out here. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. For all we know, Anton they could be on some boule assigned marriage bullshit. We don't know what the fuck they doing. But the reality is, but also, again, when he was saying you out here creating rats, that's a perception. Like you on some like that's a perception. That's a perception, and that's not based in reality. These women are out here fucking. These women are not getting fucked. They're out here fucking. There's a difference. They're out here fucking each other. They're out here fucking other women. A lot of times it's it's women is turning these it's women is turning women out. So this idea that dudes are just, yes, dudes are out here fucking too. But this idea that dudes are just taking that's fucked up. he said that, Jaquan. This idea that men are just out here taking virginal women and just turning their ass out, turning them into whores. That's a goofy ass way of looking. That is not what's going on. You know why? Because those dudes will be considered villains. Those dudes will be considered villains like a motherfucker. You know, like they would, like black men would, man, they would be considered villains. What's happening, like when these women get in the club and they want to do a fake ID because they want to be grown, because they want to get fucked, when they want to wear these halter tops and show all these, look, they are hunting for these niggas. These niggas are not hunting for them. This bullshit where the dudes that are like 21, 22 going into high school, that's not what's going on. These women are coming to them. That's what's happening. And now you got to check their ID because these hoes will lie if they get in trouble. Like, think about it. When a girl is sneaking a boy into their room, that is not him. That is her. And we got to stop trying to act. We don't live in a... See, people like to try to act like we live in this structured, conservative society. And this is all the rated. This is like all this shit. This is on YouTube. All this stuff I'm showing. This is shit she did on Instagram and shit. He saw all of this. The point was that PJ saw all of this and didn't give a fuck. And remember, she hung with Tiana Trump is like 23, 22. But they're best friend. They're really good friends. And you already know what Tiana Trump is on. She said it. She said she had 80 bodies before she got out of high school. You think she ain't taught Brittany Renner some shit? I just wanted y'all to show y'all that. This is Ticket's video. Ticket's point was he had to have seen all of this. And yet he still couldn't be told shit. This is why when people sit there and they try to say that he didn't know, that's bullshit. Yes, he did know. And again, I'm not mad at him for wanting to fuck. That's what For the Streets means. I'm not mad at him for breaking her off. Remember what I said. Y'all motherfuckers will sit here and talk about tricking. Guess what? This nigga gotta pay. If he pays, like, let's say he pays like $20,000 times 12 times 18. An average. That means 43 like $4.3 million. Like, this woman is hanging with porn. I mean, like, dude. And see, that's another thing. That's another thing too. A lot of dudes, and this is something that a lot of dudes are not gonna want to admit to. But nigga, sometimes y'all are dealing with women that you're just not in their league sexually. And you gotta really look at that, because like you gotta be cautious. That's all you. And a lot of y'all think y'all can alpha way your way through it. A lot of you niggas can't. Nigga, let's keep it real. And I'm sure Fantastic will agree. A lot of you niggas can't alpha your way through no light skin pussy like that. Nigga, that nigga, she will pull a Shang. Y'all saw that Mortal Kombat movie where Shang Tsung did what he did? This is what this chick, this is what this female, this is what this bitch, y'all know good and well. And see, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not no fool. I don't put myself in situations where I know I'm just going. This is what Brittany Renner would do to most of you niggas, even ones that are red pill. This is what's gonna happen. And that's your friend. That's your best friend. That's the red pill community. That Liu Kang. Yeah, but you don't care. Doesn't happen. You trying to save the nigga. That's marriage right there. That's a nigga getting married right there. You trying to... And then I'm raiding. You niggas would be like, why couldn't you save Kung Lao? Nigga, he already said, fuck me. That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is. And it's like, hey, now you know. That's what she did. Financially transmitted disease. And y'all know good and well. Once I saw that she was hanging with Tiana, I was like, oh hell no. Y'all, some, and I'm gonna tell you, a lot of y'all be talking that shit. I'm gonna tell you something, dude. I'm not out here trying to act like, oh yeah, man, you know, this bitch is just a bitch. I know my limits. And a lot of y'all need to know what y'all like. Yeah, Black Randers, y'all need to know what y'all like and know when a woman is your type, because see, y'all talk that shit until y'all get with a female that's your type. And if you sit there and you don't have a healthy, it's kind of like, you know, let's take drugs. I've never done drugs, but I know which drugs are more addictive than others. There are certain drugs I would never try. And yeah, that number I gave, that 4.3 million, that was based on 20,000 a month average. That wasn't based on 200,000 a month. Because I do not believe she's gonna maintain 200,000 a month. I don't think that she's gonna maintain that. I think a lawyer will find a way to make some money getting that lowered. So I think she'll probably average out at like 20, 50. No, absolutely, man, Cole. But I'm saying all of y'all got a type. So when a woman hits your type, y'all know what it is, and y'all gotta watch it, because these women are looking for marks. Like, they're being taught that. And here's the thing: a lot of women, just because if they're all not doing it, a lot of them are co-signing it on the low. Why are you telling my secrets? And I'm not even talking about marriage. I'm not necessarily even talking about marriage. I'm just talking about in general. I don't think PJ got married to be in that situation. And you look at all them baby pictures, all of them, you know, she pregnant and he's like smiling. I mean, this nigga ain't thinking. And by the way, Devin, that's based on 20,000 a month. If you multiply, if it's actually 200, then that's 43 million. Why? That nigga could have get paid her off. He was already fucking for free. You really do. When you start getting the butterflies in your stomach, especially if a bitch reminds you, if you deal with a bitch that reminds you of a bitch that you really wanted and didn't get, y'all like, ain't none of you niggas above simping. Ain't none of you niggas above sipping. And see, the thing is, what y'all will tell yourselves is, I'm just fucking cool. But don't let that light-skinned bitch know how to fuck. And it ain't just for light-skinned chicks. Black women want to talk this colorism shit. Bria Miles, a Marilyn Negra, a Kelly Rowland type. Y'all better stop fronting. This is one reason why we tell you niggas to go overseas and get that out your system. Because if you I don't care, like people say, oh, well, you deal with bad bitches, you paying for it. I ain't even saying to pay for it. But once you get to a point where you fucked a couple of bad bitches, see, women get appetite for that shit. Men actually get vaccinated. See, so Rebecca Lynn Pope said, well, men get appetites for bad bitches once they know, because every bad bitch don't know how to fuck. That's another thing. So no, if you ain't never had a bad bitch and you're not used to it, you get fucked up. But if you go overseas and you are used to a black woman that's in shape that looks a certain type of way, then you get vaccinated. So you're not gonna be as fucked up. And if y'all think, oh, well, shit, y'all, you showing the light skin. I want to end this because I know motherfuckers that say that I'm doing colorism. So let me show you a black bitch that'll tear your ass apart. Do y'all want me to show you a black female that'll tear your ass apart? You want me to show you a black female look better than Brittany Renner that'll tear your ass apart? Press 1 if you want to see what I'm talking about. All right. Let me show you a black female to tear your ass apart. And we ain't talking about no chick. We talk about a natural chick. So my point is, y'all talk that shit until y'all get in front of certain females. And see, the thing is, if you a dude that's got some paper, some real paper, you can be a mark. That's another thing too. When people talk that shit about, well, niggas that are married, because this is another thing too. You talk about people when it comes to marriage and shit like that. Y'all are talking about all races. We not talking about the black community. Well, Brittany Renner ain't got breasts. My point is, and I can show you women that ain't like that. My point is, y'all gotta vaccinate yourself from that shit. Because when you fall into that shit, you pretty much under her control. And women are like dogs. They can sniff when they got you. They can sniff when they got you. By the way, she's Colombian. Let's pull up just so we can keep it. You right. Hold on. Let's do Nefessa real quick. And if you don't believe me, look at look at how Lori Harvey got Future. I don't need to do Nefessa Williams. Y'all get the point. But my point, y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. So you drown in that shit, and you got to get yourself vaccinated from that shit so you can maintain. People call it frame or whatever, but the point is, when you look at it, the point when it comes to marriage is you have to be driving that. And see, my people will sit there and say, well, why aren't you giving the benefits of marriage? Because we don't see marriage as we don't see it. When we're talking to black men as an individual, we don't see marriage like there's nothing that marriage is going to do for a black man that he can't do for himself to get to where he needs to be. If you're going to sit there and say the dudes need to make like 80,000, 100,000 to have the right to get married, marriage doesn't become this massive acceleration vehicle. It doesn't. Now, if you're marrying in the money or something, that's different. But this idea that black men are not marrying in the money. Black men are supposed to basically pull up other people. I don't know if Nefessa is even gay. I think she played that on the show. Apparently, a Marilyn Negra has she has a TV show. Like not a TV show, but a like a podcast now. Well, FYI, I don't follow her. People that I'm gonna follow are gonna be people like Candace Patton and stuff like that. Nefessa. I follow actresses. I don't follow thoughts. All right, y'all. I appreciate the super chats. It's been real. I'm not gonna get it past 200 hours. But anyway, it's been great. I think this was pretty productive. Make sure you check out Fantastic's last stream. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, Irish Rest. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.